a big fan of magazines. I read hunting magazines, fishing magazines. When I was younger, I got Sports Illustrated in the mail every month, read through that. I just think they're fun to look at, good information in them usually. So I thought it would be a great idea to share some of that with you all here. Some of the main topics in this magazine here, we have winter bass when the sun don't shine, as it was and still is for winter walleyes. And then a couple more down here, mind over what matters panfish, blue cats east, status report, simple says for early winter pike, and the science of reservoir bass habitat. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Alright, this first page here is just some advertisements. I'll skip through those real quick. I've actually never watched In Fisherman TV. I was not aware that was a thing. But here are the contents here. I'm not going to read through this whole magazine in this video because there's a lot of stuff going on. As you can see, 64 pages. But we will go through the sections that I think are most interesting. Essentially just go through the sections about fish that I go after when I'm ice fishing, which will be the walleye section, pike and panfish, and then there might be a few other things to look through. We'll see, we will see as we go through. But one of my favorite parts about In Fisherman magazine is just looking at all the huge fish on every page, especially fish that I don't catch very often. Like, I've never caught a laker. I've never caught a catfish even close to that big. They don't get that big in my area. And I just think it's really interesting to see all of those. We will go to the next page here. I actually do need a sled like that. I'll put a picture of the sled I'm currently using for ice fishing. It's not the greatest sled for storage, but it does work. I'm going to skip through these pages here. I actually already read both of these. This is interesting. It's like a fish race. It's all of the speeds that some freshwater fish swim at, which I thought was interesting. They had 37 warm water species found in streams of Texas and Louisiana. Most of the stream fish were minnows, but they also had blue catfish, largemouth, sunfish, and bluegill. And the winner is one of the minnows. It's an emerald shiner, which I suppose does make sense if you've ever been in a lake or a river with a lot of minnows and you try to catch them. They are very fast. Thought that was interesting. Here's a section about genetic links in largemouths, which we do not have to read through. I've actually never caught a drum before, so that's interesting. Just skip through these. I also need a sonar. I do not have one of those currently. I just go off of feel, pretty much. But I think it'll be really fun to ice fish with a sonar. I've never done it. I should have checked what pages I'm looking for, because now I'm just flipping through everything here. Not sure if I'm going to be able to find. Here we go. As it was, so it still is for winter walleyes. I'll read a little bit through here. I don't want to read too much because that might not be super interesting, but I'll read a small section and then we can look at the graphs and the charts and the pictures that they have for this section. Times have changed, but not that much. Forward-facing sonar is presently making a mark on our sport, but we still have to catch them when we finally get over them, if indeed we can, as we also see, literally, just how fishing pressure changes fish attitude, usually for the worse, often making fish move away, so much so that anglers now are recalculating strategies to intercept walleyes by setting up strategically, minimizing noise, and using sort of old-school stealth presentations to trigger fish. As it was, so it still is for winter walleyes. So that is essentially this whole section. I'll just put in my 2 cents, I guess, on some of the stuff through here because I've read this and I've heard, I don't know if you could call it like a conspiracy theory, but there are people that think that fish can detect the frequencies given off by all types of sonar, but especially front-facing sonar. For whatever reason, I'm not sure what the difference is between them. And they think that the fish can detect the frequencies given off and know that there's an ice fisherman nearby, and because of that they won't bite. Which I'm not sure if that's true or not. I should probably look into that. But that is something I've heard. And I don't have any first-hand experience, obviously. Because I've never fished with sonar. I just go out there with a pole and a bucket. But it would be interesting to go out and try it for myself just to see if there's any validity to that, or if people are just anti-new technology. And I am anti the price for new sonars. It's actually insane. It's like the price of a used car. But anyways, this is a fun little display here. It's just out of anchor bait. This is actually very useful information here on where to set up tip-ups and where to sit nearby and jig. If you can have a setup like this, this would be perfect. Tip-ups with living minnows in the shallower area, and then off the drop-off you can jig. That's usually the best way to go. Drop-offs for walleye, if you can find a drop-off with, like, what do you call it? Like a topographic map or bathymetric map, and pick the right spot, then that's usually the best spot to fish for walleye, I think, is off of drop-offs and rocky areas. We've got some spoons over here. I really don't use spoons very often ice fishing. I'm more of a live bait guy for ice fishing. During the summer, I never use live bait. It's only lures. But during the winter, I don't know. It's a lot easier to catch fish when you're using live bait, I think. And especially in the winter, it's a lot easier. And I'm okay going out in the summer and not catching a lot of fish because usually it's a gorgeous day and the sun is shining, or it's like a nice warm overcast day and it's just beautiful and you get to spend time in nature and in the sun and outside. But in the winter fishing and not catching any fish. You're just outside in the freezing cold with a wind on your back, and you're just sitting there freezing, not catching any fish, so it's not really worth it. At least that's my experience. That's why I like using live bait, because it really does increase your chances of catching fish. In the winter, they're a lot less lively, and the smell really drags the fish in compared to the action from just a spoon or whatever you have on. Early season pike. I am a big pike fisherman. I catch a lot of pike. They're all over my area. That's the largest fish that we have around here. There's like 3 musky lakes within a 3-hour radius of me. So if I could, I would go to those very often. I love fishing muskie, but my area is almost all pike. We have some really large ones up here though, which is a lot of fun. I usually don't target pike through the ice. I think they're more fun to catch in the summer, but occasionally you'll get them going for walleye, and the large ones are a lot of fun to catch, but it's kind of a pain to get like a treble hook out of a pike's mouth when your hands are freezing cold, and you know it's fighting. So that is the worst part about catching pike in the winter. But here's a couple more charts showing baitfish. Whoa. Sorry, I'm having a lot of made up words today. Baitfish, there we go. Hooking options. Usually what I do with a tip up is I only do single treble hook. I very rarely do double treble hooks, but that's because I don't use very large bait fish typically. I'll just use like shiners, so I don't need 2 treble hooks. But yeah, that's the end of that section. Yeah. Hopefully this video is going well for anybody that's listening. It's not really me talking so much about the magazine. It's just me talking about what I think and using pictures from the magazine. But I thought this would be a fun rambling video, and I don't want to just read straight off the magazine word for word. I don't think that's super fun. So hopefully, if you're still listening, you are enjoying this video. Oh, that was a good crack. Just cracked my ankle. Anyways, mindset panfish, still fishing in the modern era. Now, I am a huge panfish fisherman in the winter. Really, the only reason I go ice fishing is to catch fish to cook and eat. I don't do much catch and release in the winter, unless it's pike. I do eat pike occasionally, but they're really a pain to fillet, so not super often. But if I catch like a good sized one, then I'll keep it. Anyways, sorry. Panfish. I'm a huge perch fisherman in the winter. A ton of perch in my area, and we get some really big ones too. They're really good eating. So that's what I'm fishing for most of the time in the winter. My setup, I either use like smaller spoon for perch. They like to bite spoons more than other fish, I think, in the winter at least. Or what I use most of the time is I'll have a tungsten jig, and then I put a wax worm on it. And that is my setup. And that does very well for me in the winter. I don't catch big ones always with the tungsten jig wax worm setup. It's a whole wide range of them. But that's still fun. It's still fun to catch fish. That is what I mainly keep and catch in the winter is perch. And they taste really good, and sure what type of panfish that is. I've never seen one with vertical bars like that. Unsure. Unless that was some type of hybrid. But yeah, I really wish there were more large crappies in my area. There are not at all. I don't think I've ever caught a crappie within like 100 miles of where I live currently. When I used to live further south, I would catch a lot of big crappie, which is a lot of fun, and they taste good. But there are essentially none up here, which is unfortunate. Blue cats. That's another fish that I wish there were more of around me. Are huge catfish. That would be a lot of fun. I've gone over to the Mississippi a few times to fish for catfish, but I've never caught a huge one. I used to actually watch hillbilly hand fishing all the time when I was younger. That was my favorite show. Me personally, I don't think I would ever do that. Get in the water and stick my hand in some hole in the side of the river and hope it's a catfish in there and not something else. But that was my favorite show. I loved watching that when I was younger. I'm actually not sure what region blue cats are in or what their range is. Obviously they're in the Bay region, as this says, but I'm not sure for the rest of the United States. I've never caught a blue catfish. I don't think they're in my area. I've caught channel cats, I've caught bullheads, which are kind of catfish, but never a blue catfish. I actually had a pet bullhead for 15 years. So, I'm a very big fan of catfish. Anyways, some nice pictures of blue catfish. This video is really just me going on tangents about different fish. So hopefully you don't mind rambling videos. Reservoir bass. I rarely ever fish reservoirs. I guess that's not true. There's 2 reservoirs that I fish like once or twice a year each, and that's about it. But I don't even fish for bass in either of those reservoirs. I fish for pike and walleye. Here's just some more pictures related to bass fishing reservoirs. Winter airboat scene. This would be crazy. Having a hovercraft pretty much out on the ice, that would be a lot of fun. I feel like they'd be not easy to tip, but I'm sure people would tip them like doing donuts or something. Some nice perch here. Let's go through there. Here's Northwest Dock. This is a really fun section of the magazine. It's got some nice cartoons here. The sly looking northern. Not a super long section. And that is the end of the magazine there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know it wasn't me really reading through the magazine. It was just kind of me rambling about fishing for 20 minutes. But I do hope you enjoyed. Videos talking about fishing are my favorite to make because I really love fishing and I like to just talk about it to anybody who will listen. So, yeah, that is it.